Well, hello everyone. I am Polar Marquette, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to do a review of an engine that is quite large, and it's quite topical right now, and it doesn't fit in frame. Let's readjust a little bit. There we go. So this, I don't know if you can tell by the large-sized box, but this is a Union Pacific 4000 class. If that doesn't mean anything, you'll see later. So we'll do a little bit of an unboxing first, or try to, with this large box. So this engine particularly is made by Broadway Limited Imports, and this is 4014. And as I'm sure many of these viewers, as you guys will know, Union Pacific 4014 is the only operable big boy locomotive still around. I'm pretty sure there are about, I think it's 3 or 4 big boys still left, but 4014 is the only one that is still operating. And this particular model is how it looked 2 years ago when it did its like Four Corners tour. That's why it has the new modern day appearance, but it's no longer as it is right now when it's doing its 250th tour, because that has different paint than this model. This model is how I saw it back in Utah in 2024. So this isn't, I always love getting a model of an engine that I've seen, so this was a very nice pickup to have. So the box just opens, it has a layer, it opens like that, and it's upside down. Let us fix that. So there it is in the model. Kind of see a little bit right there. Tender 2. And then you gotta take it out of this box carefully, because this is a pretty expensive model. Actually, this is my most expensive model. But now, look, you see it a little more. There it is. And then take off the plastic. A lot of packaging on it, which is nice, because then that means that it was packaged very well and safely. But now if you take a look, you can see there are some extra traction tires. There is a tool for taking off the side rods. There are, I think that's an extra front coupler, I think. Sorry, there we go, and a mounting bracket for that. We have a smoke funnel, so you can put the smoke fluid in. That is a little, I've never used this, just seems a little bit gratuitous personally. I don't need it. And then we have this, which is the smoke shield, which I'll show later in the video. So now, where's the, it's over here. Do that. Actually, I'll just take those out, because they will then fall out. And you can see a little hint of it right now as it's peeking out. Just back on a little stand. Actually, I'll move the stand lower now. And then, voila. There she is, folks. 4014 in all of her glory. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is a very nice model. But let's just very gently take her out. I was touching plastic, that was my bad. There we go. Now let's bring her around over here. And then we'll get into the close-up. Alright, so here we have the big boy now on the turntable. Yes, it is a turntable and a microwave, but it's the best I got, so we'll make it work. So, we'll start with the front. So we'll come in for a little more of a kind of close-up, I think. So it has lovely detailing on the front to start things off. It is very prototypical, very accurate to how it is right now. The one thing that I have noticed is that the headlight, once it's on, is just one light, but on the actual big boy, it is 2 single lights instead of just one. So that's one thing, but I'm assuming that's just for the model's sake, because it's a lot harder to model 2 little lights than just one. So I get it. And so we'll come down to the cow catcher. You can see how it has, if I can open this, it will turn for a dummy coupler to appear. I can focus on that. Come on. There we are. So you can see it right there. Close it back up. This will be how it is. But these are the little tiny detailing with the UP shield. A lot of little rivets, and even there's a little coupler cut lever, which does it move? Doesn't move, that's okay. And then if we go up to the main part, we'll zoom in. I'll hold this a little better. You can see the big boy has been chalked on it, just how it is when I saw it and how it is across the US. All the little handrails and detailing, and then even this, if it'll focus, please focus. Yes, this machined metal bell, which I thought was a really nice touch, used to them just being plastic. And all these lights will light up when we are looking at it. So now we'll bring it back over here, zoom back out. We'll turn it to its side a little bit so we can then see it a little better. So what makes this one the updated modern day appearance, or as it was before this special American tour, is that now the cylinder heads have been polished or painted to look as they were polished. And in the back it has 3 dynamos instead of 1. So that's really what makes this the more updated appearance than it was in, say, 2019 for its Transcontinental tour. And honestly, the polished cylinder heads are a really nice look, at least I think. Because Rackwell and Broadway Limited offered this last year. They offered it in a wide variety of paints, including the 2019 version. But I wanted to get the one in the way that I saw it, so that's what I did. So now, if we can just, you can see along the side, there's, we'll go a little closer. There we are. You can see just all this lovely detailing in the side rods, all the coupler, the cranks and the pins and the steam chutes for the cylinders, all this stuff. And it won't focus, won't it? It even has a builder's plate. That's pretty cool. But then we'll go back up here. We'll bring it around a little closer. So now you can see the tops with its dual smokestacks. And this is where that smoke shield will go later that I can show. We also have the whistle right behind it. And this has a steaming whistle, which is a pretty cool feature, where smoke will shoot out of the whistle as if it was steam on the actual engine. And then we'll turn it around a little more. So now you can see that lovely handrails on it. Very lovely. There we go. And we also have these nice machine metal safety valves. Those look lovely. Paint cannot make it look the way it does. The metal polish. You can see more of the similar piping from the front set of drivers to the second set. So that's always what makes the appeal of the big boy, is how it's has 2 sets of drivers. Love seeing this thing go around the curves. That is one also thing that is nice to mention, is this model can go around 18 radius curves, which is most like starter set curves, which I thought was insane, because something like, say, the Bachmann Daylight cannot go around those curves. It requires 22 radius curves. So how does an engine of this size, in comparison to an engine that's quite a bit smaller, can fit? Well, what they did is, on the actual big boy, the back set of drivers is fixed to the frame, so they just stay in place, while the front set, they swivel, as this one does. If I hold this, you can see it kind of swivel slightly. It'll swivel more on the track. But with this one, both of them swivel. So this back set also swivels back and forth, as the front one swivels back and forth. And the reason for that is so it can navigate those sharper curves, because it can make the correct curve with the full engine. while it's a little less realistic to the actual engine, it makes it a lot more accessible as a model, so you don't need to have a giant layout with these huge curves in order to run this engine. Which is something I appreciate, because when it's running, you don't really notice it as much, as it's just snaking in the very cool way that articulated engines do. So I thought that was a neat thing that they decided to add, and I think that's been a feature on any HO scale big boy. I don't think there's ever been one that has the correct fixed frame, just because from a modeling standpoint, that would be a nightmare. So it's very nice that they did that. So now we're going to head to the back slightly. It's a little darker now because of the way the lighting. You can see a very nice back truck underneath the cab, and you can see the firebox. There's no glow or anything, unfortunately, but what are you gonna do? I guess an oil engine wouldn't have as much glow as a coal, but there are windows where they do move. I forgot. There they are. So you can see if I actually zoom in a little more, you can now turn it towards the light. That window moves. None of the other ones, they don't. Oh, that one does too. Nope, I'm mistaken. They all mostly move. That one moves. If I can get that one back. Come on. There we go. So they're a little bit finicky, but what are you gonna do? So it even has a little glass in the front. See the lovely 4014, very crisp lettering. Even the little tiny. Actually, can I zoom in more? Yes, see the little tiny lettering for the wheel arrangement and the weight. All that stuff. It's just pretty crazy. So now we'll turn it to the back, where then you can see it is enclosed as it does in the actual engine, because they don't need a shovel because there's no coal or anything. This is now an oil burner. They can close it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's the full reason. Probably for the weather and the elements. It's my guess as well, but I'm not an expert, so don't quote me. So then we also have the the name is slipping me of this piece. Not the cut lever. Well, that's okay. But it covers up, it's the foot plate. There's the word. The foot plate that goes from the engine to the tender. It's nice that it's flexible, so that when it goes up and down hills, it can bend and flex, but still stay down. Very realistic and a very nice feature that they add that. And then up here we have, if I could actually move a little closer, we have the vent and the PTC antenna. The PTC box that's on the tender, the positive train control that allows this engine to run on the main line properly. I think if I do this, yep, the vent opens, which is a feature that I just love seeing, because it just adds a little bit of realism, but also adds a little bit of value to the engine, because it's not stuck looking the exact way it is. You can sometimes run it with the vent open or the vent closed. It's up to you. I'm going to leave that closed for now. Just gently push it back down. And then we'll take it to look at the other side, which is roughly the same. So then you can just see, if we'll focus in, the same thing where the windows will open and close. And very similar detailing all along it. Just there's no dynamos on this side, obviously. And everything's a little bit, and this side has the reverser lever on it. If you can if I zoom in, right there. You can see the reverser, the Johnson bar lever, which is pretty cool because we're on the driver's side. I did forget to mention that both sides have engineers. There's an engineer and a fireman on both sides. Always nice to see figures added. And so now, the one thing that everyone loves to talk about with Broadway Limited models is that they don't paint the axle heads. And yes, that is a pretty big issue for a very expensive model like this is. Like you can see right there, all these polished silver parts. These are painted, but these ones, like that one, that one, that one, and then on the front, if I'll actually zoom in, you can see right there and right there, those should be just black as they are on the actual engine. But on this engine in particular, especially this variant, it doesn't bother me as much because there's already so many silver accents around the wheels that they do just kind of add to that. While it's not accurate and while it, may upset other people, I'm personally okay with it. I may paint them down the road, but I just don't feel like messing with this model with my current abilities of painting. So that's my reasoning. But basically what I'll do is I'll just do a final turnaround for it. Keep just kind of turning. and get a nice 360, and then we'll move on to the tender after this. So now here we have the tender of the Union Pacific Big Boy, which this tender is not actually the tender of 4014. While it's used as such, I'm pretty sure this is the tender from the Challenger 3895, if I'm not mistaken, which is a pretty interesting tidbit because if you do compare how this tender looks to the actual Big Boy tenders from the 1940s and 50s, they look a little different because, well, this isn't actually a Big Boy tender. But it works enough for the Union Pacific, so it works enough for me. But so this model is very accurate for that because, if I'm not mistaken, Bravo Limited has also made 844 and a Challenger at one point, if I don't, so they all have very similar tenders, so they should be able to get this shape down very well, and they seem to have done that very well. So you can see all the wheels on it. This is one of the things I love about these tenders, is just how many wheels are on it, and you can see as it is on the actual model, the actual prototype, the front wheel. Sorry, there's a front truck that does turn around, and the rest of them are all solid. They're all to the frame, which makes this, it's surprising that it can go around the 18 radius curves because it just seems like too many wheels to really deal with. And so if we turn it around to the front of it, that's what connects. If you look a little closer, you can see that's where the drawbar connects to the tender. There's the plug down there for all the electronics, all this little detailing to the oil bunker right there. You can see the kind of line of rivets down the side. We'll look at those a little closer. But yeah, so that it comes down, there's all the little pipes and stuff separately applied. And then yeah, if we cut closer to the top, you can kind of see there's the hatch for the oil. And there's some little wires and stuff up here, some nice handrails. And yeah, so then we go to the side. If we have the light catch it, yeah, you can see exactly right there. That is the line of rivets where the oil bunker would end and the water would start. So I love seeing all the little tiny rivets on this. And while they're all molded in, you know, they're molded very well for this, because this is also I'm pretty sure it's a brass and steel and die-cast metal construction, so it all has been molded exquisitely. Little tiny plates and stuff on the front, and if we elevate ourselves, that is the PTC box that I was talking about that connects to the antenna, which makes this the more modern engine that it is. Then you can see the 3 water hatches. I think one of them has some sand in it, but I'm not entirely sure. I should have done more research on the Big Boy before I made this video, but it's okay. I'm just a big fan. And so then we have these nice separately applied ladders in the back. You can see right there. Some of them they can get bent out of shape if you're not careful, so I've been trying to be very careful. You have some nice coupler cut levers down here. You have a nice air hose, and then the classic, you know, KD kind of style coupler. And if I just go into the light again, we have a 25,000 gallons, I'm pretty sure it says, which is a nice little added the depth gauge for all the water. We have the marker lights, we have the 2 joules, another light, the backup light, which does turn on. And you can see the coupler a little better down there. And the other side of the engine, the tender, very similar to the first side. We'll do another little whole spin of it. I think with that, we're ready to put it on the track and fire it up. So for the smoke shield, this little guy right here, what you have to do is you have to pop off this little plastic right there. Take that off first, and then you gotta pop this on like so. And so basically, what this would be on the actual engine is this shielding comes up from either side of the smokestack, and like that, to make this shape. But what it would do is, when it went into the tunnels, the smoke would be pouring out the back. So it wouldn't be going up into the tunnel and just kind of surrounding the engine. It would be shot back to go, you know, past the engine so it wouldn't suffocate the cruise or anything like that. And I know on 4014, this shielding does still work, because I remember I have a picture of it. It should be right here on the screen right now. There. And then you can see that it looks very similar to this. Actually, if I do it more like that, there you can see it. And it has it definitely gives it a more interesting look, but I don't really run with it very much because it does kind of detract the smoke factor a little bit, but there it is. I forgot 2 more things before we have the running session. So, one of the things with this engine is it has smoke. That's one of the big features, and it's a really nice feature when it gets going. But not everyone would want the smoke to be on all the time. So what do? So here underneath the model, as it's been flipped over, you can see on or off switch. It's not labeled for what it does, but in the manual it describes that this is the on or off switch for the smoke. Now while you can turn the smoke off using your DCC controller, that you still have to have the smoke to fire up and then you can press the button, versus this will make sure it'll never turn on. So I have it in the on position right now because I like the smoke, but if anyone is thinking about getting this model and smoke is an issue for you, there you are. That's where it's located, because it's kind of hard to find it without it. And the second thing, I'll move the engine out the way, and I'll move over here to passenger cars, because you always have to have some passenger cars for your big boy, is these 2. Now, while these are not made by the same manufacturer, they are supposed to be the same paint, and they would appear such. So this right here, shall go over here first, is a Walthers mainline UP passenger car. This is their baggage / post office car. Got this off Train World for a pretty good value, but the issue is, since it's a Walthers mainline coach, it is their much lower quality one. Lower quality, it's still very good. I highly recommend it for anyone who's trying to collect the UP fleet and needs something that's not, $80 per car. Highly recommend the mainline. But the issue is, in order to get this to look as good as it can, you need to have the trucks to be the correct color. So Union Pacific, their excursion coaches have these nice, bright, and shiny trucks. They're very striking and they look great behind their steam engine. But the issue is, this coach did not come with those right from the factory. It came with these, which are very cheap and plastic looking trucks. And if that's something you're fine with, alright, you do you. But to me that bothers me, especially when in line with, say, a Broadway Limited coach. The discrepancy of the trucks bothers me. So instead, there's a very simple fix. And I found this out when I was working on my Strasbourg 90 project. Video will be coming later if we hit 100 subscribers, which we're really close to. We're at 96 currently. And when I was working on that, I had to get a silver spray paint, an aluminum paint for the smoke box. But I looked at it after it was sprayed, and I'm like, this paint could probably be used on these trucks. And it's a paint and primer in one, so luckily I can just spray it once and don't have to worry about it. And I did that, and this is what they turned out like. And then this is what they're like on the model. And I think we'll bring the Broadway Limited in here, and we'll get closer. I think they match pretty damn well. Like, if you saw that, especially rolling on the same train, you would think nothing of it. I'll zoom in. You can see the finish is very nice and pretty damn close to the factory Broadway Limited ones. Custom painted Walthers ones, just using the spray paint. And that really brings that car, I think, to a new level. And it makes it look quite a bit better behind, say, my big boy. So that's just a little tip for anyone who needs to do that or wants to do it. Now it's very easy. These cars and trucks come apart very easily and very quickly. The trucks, if I'll just take it off, uncouple it, they are just a simple one screw, and then you can just gently pry the wheels out. You just bend the plastic slightly, and they'll just pop right out, and boom, then you can paint it, put it back on your train, and boom, there you have a nice Union Pacific coach. And I know it is, my excursion's a little short right now, but I'm just trying to find the coaches for a good deal. Because like I said, I don't feel like spending the $80, especially now when I know I can customize the mainline coaches to look, I think, at least as good as the Proto one. Alright, so now, let's get the big boy on the track, and we'll go through the sound and features. Alright, so now we have the engine on the track with both the 2-passenger cars and the auxiliary tenders that I did not talk about. But I'm just gonna first have to add some spoke fluid. My favorite brand is JT's Mega Steam. I highly recommend it for any model you use because it will give you the best smoke output. So here I have the cinnamon flavor. Sorry, not flavor, don't drink it. Scent. And the box. So there's an Onan manual that comes with the big boy. I forgot to mention that earlier. And it says don't add more than 5 drops. So here you can watch. I'll do it in the first funnel. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And that should be more than enough to have this engine steaming. And the smoking whistle feature is the same smoke unit as the regular smokestack. So you don't have to worry about filling anything else. That's all you have. So this engine has a lot of features. As you can see, there's this paper that shows every feature. I cannot show every feature as my DCC controller only goes up to F13, but this engine has features all the way to F28. And here's that owner's manual that I was talking about, and it details a lot of stuff, so it's very helpful. Talk about how to change or how to record things or how to fix different CV settings and all that stuff. This engine is basically just still on default because I'm learning about how to use the Barbary Limited decoders. I might change it in the future because that's one thing everyone always talks about is how iffy these are. And I'm personally not a huge fan of the way the whistle works, but we'll get into that very shortly. So I might change this for like an ESU or something I can put custom sounds that I like the most. But anyways, let's just start it up because the one thing it has is a great startup sequence. So I'm going to turn on my controller. Lights will turn on. And then here's the controller. So I have to first add the loco. I already have renumbered it from the factory. It is 3, but I've added it as 4014. So now, in fact, I should change the speed step first. Pretty sure the startup is 0 for the, I think, if I remember. Or no, or is it 9? It's 9. So there we have it. It is now on. The air compressors are currently chugging along. That's what you're hearing. And you can kind of start to see a little bit of smoke coming out. And if actually, one of the things I recommend is we blow down the stack. And there we are. Now our engine is smoking. So on our controller, F1 is the bell. And F2 is the whistle. Oh, I turned off the dynamo. That was my bad. The F0 is the dynamo. And so now all the lights are on both the engine, the cab, and the tender. And so yeah, so F2 is the whistle. So if you just press it quickly, it'll do a short blast. But if you press it long, then it'll do a long blast. So here's the short one. So that's that, and you can kind of see the steaming whistle if I zoom in a little closer, and then blow the whistle again. It's a pretty cool feature. I'll zoom back out. And then here's the long blast. So yeah, so the one thing, that's what I don't like about the whistle, is if you hold it down, it still does that little quill at the end. Like if you short one, that's fine, because it kind of cuts itself off. But if you do the long thing, that last little bit, the woohoo Something about that, I don't like having that all the time. It's okay. We do what we must. So then if I look back in the functions, F3 is supposedly coupler sounds. That didn't do any, oh wait, no, standard. Interesting. Maybe there's just no coupler sounds right now. That's okay. And the air pumps are number 4. You can hear them going. I turn them off. And then, yeah, F7 is the smoke on and off button. F9 is the startup and shutdown. F10 is the oil injector, which is just your adding oil to the fire. Turn that off. And then F12 is the brake set and brake release. Brakes have been set. The brakes have been released. And then my personal favorite is F13, which is the grade crossing sequence. So that just plays the full long, short, long. And it's a lot easier to do than just doing it manually. Let's just hear it one more time. That's one of my personal favorites. And there's a lot of other stuff, but I unfortunately cannot do it with my DCC setup right now. So that's okay. So now, I think we're ready to pull out, you know? So here we go. Alright, well, I think that's everything with this video. Please leave a like if you enjoy, comment what your favorite part of the video was, and if I should do more model reviews like this, because I have a few more engines that I can review, like this Pennsylvania switcher that I just got. If you want me to review this little guy that's kind of newish, I'll do that for sure. Let me know. And I think that's everything, and, catch you on the next trip. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe.